This video is going to discuss two of the most common problems in writing, which are called run-on sentences and comma splices. And we will show you what they mean, and we will talk about ways of fixing this problem. So let's look at the first example, this sentence. Tony is dishonest. He steals data for a living. Some people think this sentence is correct in terms of punctuation. Actually, it is not. Because what happens here is that we have two independent clauses. Tony is dishonest should be a sentence which we call an independent sentence. So it should be ending now. And there is another one, okay? But there is no punctuation mark to separate the two sentences. And that's why we call this type of sentence a run-on, which is one of the problematic areas when it comes to punctuation. So what is a run-on sentence or a fused sentence? It is a sentence which occurs when no punctuation at all separates independent sentences like the one we have right now. Let's look at another problem. Let's look at this example. It's the same sentence, but whoever wrote this thought that if they put or use a comma in the middle of the two sentences, this will fix the problem, but actually this is not true. So this one or this comma is used in the wrong place. So that's why we call this kind of sentence a comma splice, which is also another mistake in terms of punctuation. So what is a comma splice? It occurs when only a comma separates two independent sentences, and usually this comma is used in the wrong way. Okay, so let's see how we can fix this problem. I'm going to talk today about using a full stop to fix the problem, or using a semicolon, or linking words, and there's so many of these. So I'm choosing to focus today only on three types: coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, and conjunctive adverbs. And I'm going to use some of the acronyms in order to make you remember these. And again, I repeat, these are not all the linking words. I'm just choosing to focus on the most common ones, which will make our writing easier, inshallah. So let's start with the easy solution, the easiest one, actually, using a full stop. So if I have a sentence like this is a comma splice because we have a comma used in the wrong place. So this sentence is not correct. How can I fix this? Very simple. I can simply finish the first sentence and use an end mark. And before I continue, I must tell you that in English, we only have three end marks. We have the full stop, we have an exclamation mark, and a question mark. Anything else would not be considered an end mark. It means that the sentence is not ended, okay? It's very important to know the end of the sentence. Why? Because right after we end a sentence like this one, for example, we have a full stop, whatever comes after should be a capital letter because it's a new sentence. So this is really important. Okay, some of you, sometimes they use the comma, they think this is the end of the sentence, and they even further do or cause another problem, which is that sometimes they use a capital letter after. So be careful with this. So now this is correct. I have two complete independent sentences using two end marks here. I have the full stop here and the full stop here. Okay, another example. I completed my essay. I have not submitted it. This is a comma splice because the comma is used in the wrong place. So I will simply put the first sentence. I will use my end mark, which is the full stop here, and I will use the other sentence. So there will be two complete sentences using full stops. Now, I should say that this is not usually the best solution, especially if we are talking about higher levels, especially in cycle 3. If most of your writing is like this, then you are using too many simple sentences, which will not guarantee that you will get a high mark in writing. Okay, so let's try other solutions. Okay, another solution is simply using something we call in English a semicolon. Okay, it looks like this, and you will find it on the keyboard in this area, right beside the L letter, right? Okay, so how can I use this? Let's look at this one. Now, the person who we have a person who used the comma thinking this is a good way to link the sentences. Actually, no, it is not. So the best way to do it, or one of the ways to do it, is to use a semicolon. I have a feeling that these sentences might be related. There's some sort of a relationship. Okay. It might be that there is a cause and effect, something like that. So I can simply use a semicolon like this, okay? And it will look like it's one sentence or two sentences linked together. So be careful here. When I use the semicolon, right after the first sentence, be careful that whatever comes after the semicolon should be a small letter. Why? Because this is not an end mark, okay? So whenever I say a semicolon, what does it mean? It means that I have two sentences that are related together. Sometimes you see the semicolon and think, okay, what does it mean? It means because. Sometimes it means furthermore. Sometimes it means therefore. So, you see? So it depends on the type of relation between the two sentences. So simply, if you have two sentences related to each other, you feel like the meaning of the two sentences somehow is related. So you can simply put a semicolon and continue with the next one, but be careful to not to capitalize the first letter after the semicolon. Another example, I completed my essay, I have not submitted it. أكملت المقال لكن لم أسلمه. فيعني I do not see the word لكن. There is no linking word used here. So if I don't want to use a linking word, of course this is wrong because I'm using the comma in the wrong way. So I can simply put a semicolon and the reader will understand that these two sentences are related somehow. Simply here I can see something like على الرغم من ذلك أو لكن, like that. I completed my essay, أكملت المقال لكن لم أسلمه. Okay. Right. This is one of the solutions. I would say this punctuation mark is one that I can think of as an advanced one. It's a good thing, but you cannot also like keep using it through the whole essay if you're writing a full essay. So you need to know other ways to do this. So now it's time to move to the use of linking words. And as I said before, there are so many of them. I'm dealing with three only today: coordinating, conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, and conjunctive adverbs. And I'm using these acronyms. I hope they will make you kind of remember some of the most common ones here. Okay, so let's start with the coordinating conjunctions. Okay, you can see here in this table that we have only 7 of these. Okay, so when I say coordinating conjunctions, it is known for everyone that we have 7 coordinating conjunctions. These are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Okay, so usually I can use these in order to link two independent sentences together. Okay, and they are very famous because we usually use the acronym fanboys in order to remember this. Okay, so whenever I say fanboys words, you should know that these are coordinating conjunctions. Okay, now just be careful before I move. Of course, you have these sentences, examples, and meanings of the words. Okay, you can take a screenshot of this to study later, no problem. But one of the words I find sometimes this causes some problems, the word for. Okay, for is not used here for a purpose. Okay, يعني لغرض أو لأجل. Here it is actually used to mean because, لأن. So be careful with this because it might be new for some of you. I have to find a new job for I am unemployed. يجب أن أحصل على وظيفة جديدة لأنني عاطل عن العمل. So for here means لأن. Just be careful with that. The rest of them, I think, might be clear for all of you. And in case they are not clear, you can just go back to the examples and study them. Okay, here I have some notes to make about punctuation, which I think it's very important because the whole purpose of this lesson is to teach you problems with or how to deal with problems with punctuation. This is usually applicable to the words and for, because these are the two that usually make most of the problems. So whenever I have single words or phrases, no comma, don't use a comma. For example, if I'm talking about this, I bought apples and bananas. There's no need here to use a comma, okay? If I use something like this, okay, she cooked dinner and cleaned my room. Now be careful that what came after and is not a complete sentence. What does this mean? I did not use a subject. ما في فاعل. يعني here I have subject. I have a subject. في فاعل. فاعل وفعل. She cooked dinner. This is a complete sentence. And then I used and, which is one of the fanboys word or the coordinating conjunctions. And then I use another verb without the subject. ما في فاعل, okay? And cleaned my room. It's something like, you can think of it as like you are using and in order to link the two verbs cooked and cleaned, okay? In this case, there is no need to use a comma. Simply put and continue, okay? Also, speaking of this one, suppose that I'm using a list, of things. I bought apples, comma, bananas, for example, strawberries, something like that. And usually before the last one, I will use and. In this case, yes, you can use a comma and then the last thing will be mentioned, fine. But this is not my focus for now. I need to focus on the use of complete sentences, which is going to be this. If I have a complete sentence, then I need to use a comma. Okay, now this sentence looks probably like this one, but if you look closely, you'll find that here and is followed by a she. So she cooked dinner and she cleaned my room. Okay, she cooked dinner and she cleaned my room. The only difference is that here I have a complete sentence right after and. So that's why I have to use a comma before and. Okay, so be careful with this. Okay, if I use another example with the word or, because as I said, usually and or usually cause problems when it comes to this. When do I use a comma? When do I not use a comma? Okay. Now, if I am talking about or, single words or phrases usually take no comma like this. Would you go to the cinema or the mall? So I'm choosing between the cinema and the mall. So in this case, no need for a comma before or. Would you go to the cinema or stay at home? I added another verb, but still it is not a complete question because I don't have a subject. ما في فاعل. Okay, so in this case, there is no need for the comma before or. Okay. However, if I'm using a complete sentence after or a complete question, then I have to use a comma. So would you go to the cinema, comma, or would you stay at home? Why here? Because I have a complete question. I have a complete question. I have the modal verb, I have the subject, I have the verb. So of course I have a complete question. In this case, there should be a comma right before or. Okay, I hope this made it clear. Now let's go back to our previous sentences that we showed in the very beginning of the lesson to show how we can deal with this. Tony is dishonest. He steals data for a living. So I need to fix the comma splice here. How can I do this? Think of our fanboys words. Choose a word that will show the correct relationship between the two sentences and use one of them. So for me, I'm choosing to choose the word for. I'm choosing to use the word for. Tony is dishonest. Tony ليس أمين. For لأنه يسرق البيانات من أجل الحصول على رزقه أو من أجل الحصول أو يعني هذا هو عمله. Okay, so Tony is dishonest for يعني because he steals data for a living. Now this is correct. Okay, let's use another example. I completed my essay, comma, this is a comma splice. I have not submitted it. So the correct one is, or the correct word to use here is, in my opinion, but. Okay, you could also use yet, it's okay. I completed my essay, أكملت المقالة, لكن لم أقم بتسليمها. Okay, so I completed my essay, but I have not submitted it. As you can see, this is one of the fanboys words. So I'm using a comma now, but it is used correctly because it is followed by a linking word. It is followed not just a linking word, it's followed by a coordinating conjunction. So now the comma in this way is used correctly. Okay, but if I don't use the word but and I leave the comma, then it is not correct. Okay, right. Let's look at another type of conjunctions. These are called subordinating conjunctions. And I'm showing you some of the words, but you should know that these are not everything. We have so many subordinating conjunctions. I'm just choosing to focus on the most common 10, okay? And there is a famous acronym for these. It is called AWUBIS, okay? I think most of them look familiar, and I wrote the meanings in Arabic just in case you don't know some of them. But just be careful with the word since, because some of you only know one meaning, اللي هو معناه منذ. This is not the one we are talking about today. When I say since, meaning منذ, I will use it like this. I have been living in the UAE since, for example, 1991. So since will be meaning منذ. This is not our focus today. There's another meaning, which is because. So since here, as a subordinating conjunction, means because. Another meaning for the word because. لأن. Okay, so just be careful with this. Also, as is another word that means because. Okay, so be careful with this, and then we will try to look or discuss some punctuation notes. Okay, in most cases, generally, okay, if the conjunction is used in the middle, then I will not use a comma. For example, I went shopping because I wanted some food. I feel like my feeling is that the normal position of the word because should be in the middle. Okay, so if it is used in this way, there is no need for a comma. Okay, if I use the word after, for example, I got my diploma after I got married, so there is no need for a comma. Just put the two sentences and link them together in one sentence like this. Okay, so here actually, I should tell you that, okay, here that I linked the two sentences, usually the first sentence is an independent sentence, okay? And the sentence that starts with the subordinating conjunction is usually called a dependent sentence, okay? And so anyway, the punctuation in this way, as I said, if the conjunction is in the middle, no need to use a comma now. I will take my coat if it is cold. So there is no need for a comma here. However, if we choose to start or put the conjunction in the beginning, okay, then in this case, we have to add a comma. So look at this sentence. It's the same that we used in the beginning here, but because is used in the beginning of the sentence, so the B should be capitalized. And then after we finish or after we put our dependent clause, we have to put a comma and then put the independent clause. Then another example, after, if I choose to put after here in the beginning, then after I got married, comma, and then or the completion of the sentence. If it is cold, so we're starting to choose or to start with if, then we have to add a comma here, then I will take my coat, okay, my coat. Then we will show you, or we will go back to the sentences we referred to in the beginning. Tony is dishonest. He steals data for a living. How can I do this or fix this problem using a subordinating conjunction? I'm choosing to put the words I referred to in the beginning of the lesson. And as I said, these are not all the subordinating conjunctions, okay? These are just the ones that are most commonly used by many people. So I have to find one of these which will show me the correct relationship between the two of them or the two sentences. I am choosing to use the word because I feel like there is a reason here. Tony is dishonest because he steals data for a living. هو غير أمين لأنه يسرق المعلومات. Okay, so I'm choosing the word because, and I'm not putting a comma because the word is used in the middle, so there is no need for a comma. Okay, another example, I completed my essay, I have not submitted it. Okay, I have to find one of the words in order to show me the relationship between the two sentences. I'm choosing the word although, and I'm choosing to start with it. Although, على الرغم من, although I completed my essay, comma, I have not submitted it. على الرغم من إني أكملت المقال لم أقم بتسليمه. Okay, so this one is correct now. So let's move to another type, conjunctive adverbs. Okay, there are so many of these, but I'm choosing again the most common ones. Therefore, however, also, meanwhile, and otherwise. You should notice that there's something common between these is that usually they refer to the previous sentence. So it makes perfect sense that these words should start the second sentence, okay, because they are referring to the previous one. As you can see, the meanings in Arabic, لذلك, referring back, على الرغم من ذلك, I'm referring back to the sentence before. Also, إضافة إلى ذلك, I'm referring to the sentence before. Meanwhile, أثناء ذلك, otherwise, خلاف ذلك, you see? So these are, of course, as I said, there are so many of them, but I'm choosing the most common five. And there is a famous acronym, which is FAMO, to just remind us of these five words, okay? So let me show you something really important about punctuation here. Usually, if the conjunction is used in the middle, a semicolon should be used before and a comma after, like this. I was so sick yesterday, semicolon, however, with a small h, and then a comma, and then the completion of, or the other sentence, okay? So I kind of put however in the middle between the two sentences, okay? I didn't want to start like a new sentence with the word however. I'm putting however in the middle. In this case, be very careful. This applies to all the words in the same area. So the word should be preceded, or a semicolon should come before the word, and a comma should come after the word. Another example. So let me just translate this one. Okay. I was so sick yesterday. كنت مريضة أمس. على الرغم من ذلك قمت بأداء امتحان أو اختبار الإمسات. Okay. Okay, I studied very hard, therefore I passed my exam. درست بشكل جدي لذلك نجحت في الاختبار. Okay, so what do you notice here? I used the linking word in the middle between the two sentences because this is my choice. So you put a semicolon and then small t and then a comma and then you complete the sentence. If this was not an I, be careful, it should have been a small letter, but we capitalize it because I is always capitalized. The pronoun I is always capitalized, okay? However, if the conjunction is chosen to be beginning a new sentence, then it's only a comma after and that's it. For example, I was so sick yesterday, okay? It's exactly the same sentence as the one here, but I'm choosing to start or use however in the beginning of a new sentence. So the H is capital. I put a full stop at the end of the first one here, and then I started a new sentence with the word however. So it is capitalized because it comes after the end mark, which is the full stop. And then after however, I put a full stop. Both are correct. So you choose this way or this way. It is up to you. Both are correct, but you should know how to use them. If I do the other one with therefore, it will be like this. I studied very hard, full stop. And if I have a full stop, capital T, and then a comma, and then I complete the other sentence. And now they are linked properly and the punctuation is correct. Okay. Let us go back again, refer back to our examples from the beginning of the lesson. Tony is dishonest. He steals data for a living. This is a comma splice. I'm actually choosing to focus more on the comma splice because I feel it's more common, at least among my students. Okay. So if I want to fix this, think of our FAML words, therefore, however, also, meanwhile, otherwise. So if I want to find a word to link the two sentences, I'm choosing to use the word therefore. لذلك, Tony steals data for a living. Okay, I chose like to switch the two sentences because I feel it makes more sense this way. Tony يسرق المعلومات. لذلك هو غير أمين. Therefore, he is dishonest. Because I started with therefore, I started a new sentence with therefore, so I put a full stop here to end the first one, and then capital T, comma, and then I continue. Okay, This is correct now. Okay, let's look at another example. I completed my essay. I have not submitted it. We have a comma splice. So this is wrong. I need to fix it using one of the words. I completed my essay. You feel like there's some sort of contradiction between the two sentences. Okay, so however will be a very good word here. على الرغم من ذلك. I completed my essay. However, I have not submitted it. أكملت المقال. على الرغم من ذلك لم أسلمه. So I chose to put however in the middle between the two sentences here. Okay, so semicolon, however, and comma. It's also possible to end this sentence with a full stop and then start, however, with a capital H and then a comma and continue. Both ways are correct, okay? Now, after we finished all of this, we can look at some sample questions, okay, to apply whatever we learned. Rewrite the sentence to correct mistakes. The subway was late. We missed the first 10 minutes of the movie. We have to decide if this is a run-on sentence or a comma splice. You can see here that we have a comma used in the wrong way. Okay, so this is a comma splice. So how to fix this? Simply, the first one is to use a full stop. End the first sentence with a full stop. Start the new sentence with a capital letter because it comes after an end mark, and complete with the other sentence and a full stop. Another way is to use a semicolon like this one because I feel like the two sentences can be related. Okay, so we are using a semicolon to link them, but right after the semicolon, we use the letter as a small one because this is not an end mark. Okay. Another way is to use a comma, but with a linking word, one of the fanboys words. So the subway was late, so we missed the first 10 minutes of the movie. Okay. Another question. There is a lot of mail in my neighbor's mailbox. They must be away on a trip. So I have to decide if this is a comma splice or a run-on sentence. What we notice here is that there is a missing punctuation mark between the two sentences. I have two complete thoughts, two complete ideas, but there is no punctuation mark to separate between them. So of course we call this a run-on sentence because there is a missing punctuation mark. Okay, how can we fix this? Again, use the first sentence and then a full stop and start a new one with a capital letter. And I have two complete simple sentences here. Okay, fine. Another way is to, again, use a semicolon and then a small letter. Okay, and this is fixed. Or I can, again, use one of the fanboys words. Okay, a coordinating conjunction, comma, so. Okay, so there is a lot of mail in my neighbor's mailbox, comma, so they must be away on a trip. Okay, another question. I am unable to meet you in Hong Kong. I have no money. You can see here that I have a comma splice. All right. So how can I fix this? First way, I am unable to meet you in Hong Kong. Full stop, I have no money. Okay, it's possible, but it's not a nice one because you need to find some sort of a relationship, and I think it's kind of clear here. Or I can use a semicolon to show you that these sentences are related. Okay, or I'm using the word since, which means because. لأن. Since I have no money, بما أنني أو لأنني ما عندي نقود, I am unable to meet you in Hong Kong. لا أستطيع أن أقابلك في Hong Kong. So because I started with the word since, okay, so I have to end the sentence with a comma, okay, and then start the new one. It's also possible to put since in the middle like this. So I'm unable to meet you in Hong Kong. ما أقدر أقابلك في Hong Kong since I have no money. بما إنني أو لأنني ما عندي نقود. Okay. Another one. The fastest animal in the world is not the cheetah. It can run up to 98 kilometers per hour, right? Okay. So what we can do here, first we have to decide what type of mistake this is. Okay. So what do we notice here? We have, mashallah, something long with only one full stop at the end. Okay, so it seems that there is a missing punctuation mark here. Okay, so what do we call this? We call this a run-on sentence, right? Okay, so how can we fix this? First, it seems that the two sentences kind of contradict with each other, right? Because if there is an animal that runs this fast, it should be considered the fastest animal, but it is not. So I have some sort of contradiction. So however will be a good word here. However, على الرغم من ذلك. على الرغم من ذلك لا يعتبر أسرع حيوان. So this is one way. The way I used it here, I put, however, in the middle between the two sentences. So semicolon and then a comma. Okay, another way is to use the same word and start a new sentence with, however, capital H in the beginning and then a comma and then complete. Okay, another sentence. Marie Curie was the first person to win 2 Nobel Prizes. She's one of the only 2 people to receive a prize in 2 fields. What do you notice here? We have a comma splice. Okay, how can I fix this? Okay, one of the ways is to simply put a full stop and then start start a new sentence with a capital S, because this is a new sentence and it comes after an end mark. Or I can use one of the very famous and easy coordinating conjunctions, which is and, one of the fanboys. And you can notice that after and, we have a complete sentence, subject, a verb. So we can use a comma and then the word and, right? Okay. Another one. Many people around the world like Korean food. It tastes spicy. There's a comma splice here. I feel there is some sort of a relationship. Okay. So this is a comma splice, of course. You can see that it's because it tastes spicy. Many people around the world like Korean food. Okay. I use because in the middle, so that's why I'm ending this sentence with a comma and continuing with the other part. Okay. But if I put because in the middle, it will have no comma. Many people around the world like Korean food because it tastes spicy. Another one. Jennifer walks in the park. She thinks about her plans for the week. I see no punctuation marks here separating. There's a missing punctuation mark. So this is a run-on sentence. And the solution is to use the linking word while, بينما, أثناء. While walking in the park, بينما كانت تمشي في الحديقة, Jennifer thinks about her plans for the week. كانت تفكر في خططها للأسبوع. Okay. Or I can use while here in the middle. Jennifer walks in the park. كانت تمشي في الحديقة أثناء ما كانت تفكر في خططها للأسبوع. Okay. These are the references I used in order to prepare this lesson. I hope you like it, inshallah. If you like my channel, please try to subscribe in order to be notified, because there will be further videos, inshallah. And you can also subscribe to my Telegram channel. This channel will help you practice for IMSAT. I have uploaded some sample tests and websites that might help you, inshallah. Thank you so much for watching.